Okay, I just gotta do a reaction really quick to this. I like Abba and Preach. I watch a lot of their stuff, but they're missing some really major points here, and it's kind of frustrating because they're both smart guys and they both usually will notice these kinds of points, or at least bring up these points, and maybe they do later in the video. I didn't get very far until this started to really bug me, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and watch it. I'm gonna explain why it bugs me, and let's see.
Everyone is losing it. Actually, all across the nation, people are protesting en masse because of the shooting involving an ICE officer and a woman who's a U.S. citizen in her car.
Yeah, we didn't have access to this footage before we hit the record button, but we felt it important to add, so here's footage from the actual officer.
So, this is the officer's footage. Important thing to notice as you watch this is A, he's clearly getting information on the vehicle who's protesting. There's people who still deny that she's a protester. Clearly a protester, her and her wife, both protesters. That doesn't justify anything. I'm just explaining the situation. I'm not trying to say, oh, she's a protester, therefore she should get shot. No. What I'm saying is he is inspecting the vehicle, getting license plate, getting identifiers just in case they change the plates. He's clearly collecting information on people who are interfering with their work, which is a crime. So that way, if they do want to pursue charges, they have information to go off of.
Perspective.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later.
See, she even knows this has happened before. They've gone through this before. They've done this before. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. So she knows. She knows that what they're doing is a problem, and they're going to end up potentially facing charges.
Fine. U.S. citizen, former. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead. Out of the car.
So this is when they come up and they tell her to get out of the car. You can hear, even from over here on the other side, they can clearly hear, get out of the car. So it's not like she couldn't hear what was being said. She knew they were saying, get out of the car. Now, the officer absolutely makes a mistake here by walking in front of the car. That was dumb. That was something where clearly he did not expect them to do something. They probably had multiple interactions with these same people. So he made a big mistake, got too comfortable, and went in front of the car. But you can still hear the fact that he gets hit by the car.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Whoa.
Did you hear the wife say, drive, baby, drive, drive? And then did you hear how he hit the car there? He got hit. He has fast reaction time, and luckily he did, because he actually did move to the side just a little bit, so instead it just kind of hit him versus full on hit him. It was stupid of him to go in front. You don't get to kill a cop just because he walked in front of your car, though.
The Department of Homeland Security claimed the woman had tried to run over officers with her car and called it an act of terrorism.
My only question is...
That is stupid. Not an act of terrorism. In some ways, you could try to argue that because they are trying to intimidate the police into not doing their jobs and therefore causing change. But no, calling it an act of terrorism downgrades what a terrorist act is.
If you guys thought this she was this dangerous domestic terrorist, if she was a domestic terrorist and some dangerous perp, why would you circle the car like this and be in front of it, putting yourself in danger?
How do you understand what happened?
What I saw from the video is that I don't know why she was positioned that way in the street, but...
You know why. You know why she was positioned that way. You can tell by the attitude. You can tell by the way they're shouting. The fact that the wife got out of the car. Don't pretend like you don't know. And then you're going to say, oh, she was waving them on. Yeah, that was after 4 minutes of them blocking the road. And they were trying to wave on other cars. You can see even when she waved on, she pulls forward and blocks the car a little bit. until she realizes that she's going to hit it. Then she stops.
From what I saw, she was waving cars by
Yeah.
and waved again, and the car stopped. And then the ICE agents got out.
So the government's account is that one of the ICE officers was stuck in a snowbank. And as a result of that, they were trying to get him out. During that time, a lot of people were kind of chasing them out because people have been going against ICE everywhere they've been. And during this time, they're claiming that this lady was part of the people blocking them in. And as they were trying to leave, that's...
Why are you looking surprised? What does that look like? Does that look like somebody just parking on the side of the road? She's literally parked perpendicular to the road and blocking half of it. Easily able to pull forward or back. There's even a video from earlier on a different angle where you could see that she pulled forward to let a civilian through before she backed up to block the road.
Some of them approached her.
Sure. What the government is saying doesn't match what I saw. The cop that allegedly shoots her gets out of the car, circle around the car with his phone out. The second thing that is weird is whenever you do a stop, there's a way to position yourself. And in front of the vehicle is not where the position is.
Absolutely right. You're right. That was stupid of him. Does not mean you get to run him over.
True.
You're driving, they're not positioning themselves there. They're behind. It's the same thing that happens there. This dude goes in front of. And then the other thing that struck me and that was kind of weird was the way the whole thing happened. Phone, let me shoot. And then the way he holstered and just casually walked to the car that was later on after that crashed because the lady was probably stepping on the gas while she expired. It's just the way that he was like, let me holster this and let me just, there was...
How is that proof of wrongdoing? I've met a lot of guys who have been through a lot of stuff, and they'll take on a heavily stressful situation, show no reaction. That just proves that he's been through a bunch of BS, which we know. We know he's been through a bunch of BS. He got dragged by a pedo, or at least someone who had a, fourth degree thing with a child. So we know that he's been through a lot. He's probably also hyper stressed right there and having a little bit of a adrenaline response, which is different for people who are hyper skilled. They don't get twitchy, they get calm.
No procedures, nobody was trained. All right, get out of the car and start to yank on the door. The agent, the way he was acting, it felt like he wanted to shoot someone.
I think
maybe. And that could be a fair criticism. That could be a fair criticism that he was too amped up. They've been dealing with people blowing whistles and honking horns and screaming at them all day. He had a bad response, probably because of the fact that he's gone through this whole get hit by a car or dragged by a car before. And so in some ways, he might have been a little bit too amped up. That is a fair critique. Doesn't mean you get to run him over with your car.
About that.
as far as the legal case goes for this, everyone's going to have their take. A lot of people feel like it's clear-cut murder. In my experience, whenever it involves law enforcement, whatever the public thinks is clear-cut murder doesn't really matter in legal standards, because you see it all the time with killings that happen on camera, with motherfuckers pull out guns just blasting everywhere. They get off almost all the time. So cops have pretty strong immunity, and I understand that DHS agents aren't necessarily cops, but they do operate as federal agents. So they're going to have quite a lot of leeway in regards to how they fear for their lives. And the woman, when she's pulling out, nearly does or kind of starts to hit the guy, but he's already on the side before he starts shooting. So that's something they're going to figure out in a court of law. And I'm not going to sit here, they're going to jail. I don't know. If I had to put my money on it, they're not going to jail.
No, they're not going to jail.
So you acknowledge that he got hit. And that's with him dodging to the side, and that's with her supposedly she was trying to turn away, it looked like, but she started going forward before she started to turn. If you watch the other angle from a slow-mo, she is going at him when she first hits the gas. And he tries to dodge to the side, and he still gets clipped.
They did. Orange Man's going to pardon him because he don't give a fuck about the law. Because the law means nothing to him. I'm going to Venezuela because of drugs, and then he pardons a former president who sold so much drugs in his country. Nothing matters.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't matter. It's not
him being accountable. Don't count on it, in my opinion. When I watched the clip, I cued in on the exact same thing, which is why would you ever go in front of a vehicle that way?
You go around on the other side too.
It's a really bad.
Yeah, dumb. Doesn't mean you get to kill him. Doesn't mean you get to run him over. Doesn't mean you get to flee and disobey lawful orders.
Practice for the safety of yourself and for the situation, because you're going to make it escalate if you get hit.
100%.
And then you put yourself in jeopardy. So it's just bad police practice. But then also, like, shooting the person in the car is also bad. Because even if you get them, if their foot is still on the pedal and they just press, which is very natural for a lot of people to do, they're running right into a house in a residential area.
Yeah, quite possibly. It's why a lot of police precincts don't do that. But at the same time, it's also bad practice to shoot your gun inside a house. But what do you do if somebody else has a gun pointed at you? Are you supposed to be like, well, you're not supposed to shoot your gun in the house? No. The situation looked like something where he felt like he was in imminent danger, and he reacted accordingly. You can say maybe he kind of overreacted, just like if somebody pulled a fake gun on a cop and the cop shoots them. We can now look back at the video at a slow-mo play-by-play and be like, oh, see, actually, if you pause it right here, you can tell that it's a plastic gun. Okay, give 2 seconds less. He had 1 second of reaction. If you watch that back, he had 1 second of she slams it into gear and goes. He doesn't know her intentions. He doesn't know whether or not he won't slip on the ice and end up under that tire and die.
The cameraman was not behind the thing, but in front. He might have got hit by the car. So it's really stupid in so many different ways, him shooting at the car. Mm-hmm. People are saying, well, this woman's, first off, she wasn't going that fast, but shooting her ensures that she has no control over her vehicle. So it's not a good thing. And at the same time, fleeing isn't a crime worthy of you having to shoot. Now, they're going to make the argument, if I'm being fair, where they're saying she's using this vehicle as a deadly weapon or whatever it could be.
If you look at the position of the tires,
If you look at the position of the tires, because he has X-ray vision and can see the position of the tires while he's standing in front of it, right in front of the hood. You just saw the camera angle of his perspective. He couldn't see the tires. He can't see which way she's going. He steps in front, which is dumb, and all of a sudden she's coming at him. You hear the engine rev up. You see the tire spin. If you watch from the other side, the side that they're showing here, if you watch, you'll see the tires spin out on the ice a little bit. So she hit that gas hard. She wasn't stomping on it probably 100%, but she wanted to get going. She wanted to flee. You even hear her wife say, "Drive, baby, drive." They had a whole plan where it's okay to just drive off and run away from this situation. Now the cop was in front of her, which was dumb. But at the same time, just because a cop is being dumb doesn't mean you can kill him. Again, it is not good to, like, maybe you can say the same thing about shooting a guy who's holding an automatic weapon. Well, if you shoot him, he might still be squeezing that trigger, and then you have a whole bunch of other bullets going everywhere. So you shouldn't do it. That's dumb. He had a gun basically pointed at him. He had a car coming at him. Tire spin. He pulls his gun. He gets hit. Then he shoots.
Not going towards the officer. She was going away from him.
And,
yeah, with
and
his X-ray vision.
That's going to be me.
You know, that's something they're going to argue in court.
Yeah, because the cop is not seeing that.
You can see he is quite close by the time it happened.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what the legal defense is going to be.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got to go beyond a reasonable doubt.
100%.
And you guys might not like this, but oftentimes cops get that doubt. More often than not.
100%.
It's not even part of DHS policy.
And I agree with them. I actually get really annoyed with how often cops get that doubt. I don't like it, the fact that so many cops will do blue backs blue and get away with some horrible stuff. Doesn't mean you get to kill him.
To go after somebody in terms of a chase like this.
In my 25 years, I've done hundreds of vehicle stops. If someone is fleeing, that is not a justification for the use of deadly force.
Under the Department.
They did not shoot her because she was fleeing. He shot her because she was driving at him. Those are two different things. If she's driving purely away, nothing in front of her, she has a clear road, do you think he would have just been firing off down the road? No, he literally only pulls his gun when she comes at him.
Homeland Security's use of force policy, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable a moving vehicle, and shooting at a moving vehicle is tightly restricted.
So my training was that you cannot use deadly or lethal force solely to stop a fleeing vehicle.
Can you use it to stop someone trying to run you over?
1994, 95. We changed it in LAPD when I was there in 2004. But it's basically simple, which is if you're confronted by a moving vehicle that could be a threat to you, get out of the way of the vehicle and don't shoot it.
Oh, do you think he tried? You're making a face like, yeah, get out of the way. Do you think he just stood his ground? You can see he moved. He tried to get out of the way, and instead he's being hit.
Car. Now this is...
So all the people who claim to care about law and order or rules, they don't. Like I said, they're not even following their own rules and their own policy. But it goes even further than that. Let's just listen a little bit more.
DHS law enforcement officers are prohibited from discharging firearms at the operator of a moving vehicle or other conveyance unless the use of deadly force of the... Basically, it says, unless it...
This appears to be black and white.
Well, it does. And it also says a law enforcement officer must take into consideration...
Wait. They literally didn't finish reading it. Where he then says, unless in threat.
The hazards that may be posed to law enforcement and innocent bystanders by an out-of-control vehicle.
They literally stopped reading the part where it's being used as a weapon.
They claim to want law and order, but they don't want it. What I predict is that this is going to escalate so much that eventually, I think within the year, winter's going to be over. Because these things, a lot of these things happen in the blue states and stuff. And I could predict...
A lot of these things happen in the blue states. Isn't that interesting?
Shootout. It's going to escalate to shootout civilian against ICE. It's going to be a whole ass civilian war over there.
So this person doesn't follow company protocol, doesn't follow DHS protocol, is incompetent by any standard.
He did follow those protocols. He did mess up. Absolutely, he did something stupid. Doesn't mean you get to try to kill him.
I'm just going to ask the question. Is this man a DEI hire? I'm just wondering. I'm just saying. I remember Charlie Kirk saying, if I see a black pilot, I'm a wonder. Okay, well, shit. I've seen a lot of traffic stops, a lot of checkpoints. This is definitely the most incompetent one I ever seen.
One thing that I thought was interesting about this story is I got a chance to look up the officer himself, because a lot of people have been trying to figure out who he is and what he's about.
What began as a planned federal immigration arrest took a violent turn in this quiet Bloomington neighborhood. Court documents say he repeatedly refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window. These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards. These graphic images show the aftermath.
It's the same agent.
Yeah.
It's the exact same agent.
Isn't that wild that it's the same agent? Maybe it's because there's so many assaults happening on these agents. Maybe it's because they're in so many dangerous situations. And like I said, because of that, he's not going to react like somebody who's never dealt with a dangerous situation before. He's not going to have a full spastic freak out because he just shot. This is a guy who's been through it, and he's been going through it for probably a few years now. Especially you look at the way ICE has been getting treated all year. Yeah, it's the same agent who's been dealing with this all year.
Who pulled the gun and fired it on this lady.
Well, don't you see that he's the Punisher? And his name is Frank Castle.
And this is what I mean when I say incompetence. I don't mind that these people are...
You know what, actually? He kind of is. You watch that video, how fast he pulls that gun. Once she starts coming at him, once she hits that gas, that was pretty quick. He pulled the gun, tried to get to the side, was able to get at least enough to the side to not get hit. Yeah, that's impressive.
Executing this warrant. This man's not supposed to be there. Deport him. Do what you just got to do. When you do stupid shit like that, you put yourself and others at risk.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's the incompetence that I have an issue with. My man just
Yeah.
just reaching in.
He did mess
Guy just
up.
now you're putting yourself. Now you may have to use your firearm, or you may die yourself.
Yeah.
The thing that always strikes
Oh,
me.
oh, did you catch that? You may have to use your firearm or die yourself. So you're saying he should have died himself. Got it. So you acknowledge that was an option, that was something that could have happened right there.
When I watch this, and I think it's true for everything that this administration does in regards to world trade, everything like that, it's just everything is sloppy. Everything is sloppy. Everything
Yeah.
is smoke and mirrors. Everything is just like,
Oh, smoke and mirrors.
let's say none of us know what happened. Why the fuck are they coming out within an hour of the event itself and labeling the victim
A terrorist.
a domestic terrorist?
Why are they also coming out within the hour and saying that she wasn't even a protester? And if you had seen the Wikipedia page, they basically described it as he walks up, puts his arm on the hood, and shoots her in the head. Why are they within the hour posting? New York Times posted a video where they literally said that he did not, where they try to gaslight you into the fact that he did not even get hit by the vehicle.
That quickly.
When
Trump will say right now, oh, this what she did was so.
Or you consider the smoke and mirrors of you were trying to gaslight us about whether or not she was even blocking the road. Oh, some people, they just park like that. They park in the middle of the lane perpendicular to the road. I don't know what she was doing there. It could have been anything.
Bad, but we should wait for investigation. But did you guys wait before you labeled her something publicly? Before you said what she is? No.
Yeah, it was dumb to call her a domestic terrorist. Absolutely. Doesn't justify the fact that now everyone's acting like this was a random murder where they just walked up and killed a U.S. citizen.
Right? And it's like, I have a hard time, just in general, like looking at the professionalism of the people who do this job. And looking at the people who support it and they don't care about professionalism.
100%.
They don't care about, they say, law and order, whatever it is. Well, law and order requires people to have ethics, to have standards. What are we watching unfold? Super simple.
You're watching multiple failures happening at the same time. One failure is the cop. He absolutely failed, shouldn't have walked in front of the vehicle. Again, doesn't mean you get to try to kill him. Another failure you're seeing is this over-radicalization that's happening where these people feel like they are justified to go and interfere with police, to go and harass police, to go and endanger police and have zero consequences. And instead, if something does happen, like one of them gets shot, what ends up happening is we have politicians, we have YouTubers, we have the news all telling us it's because racist Nazis.
And you know what? If they'd come out and said that, I don't think I'd have as much thought. I still think it's a fucked up situation. But at the very least, this has never been an administration that cares about truth, doesn't care about consequence, doesn't care about law and order. They'll pardon anyone. Doesn't matter if you're caught on camera taking bribes, you're still in their office. They got motherfuckers literally taking cash money bribes.
So they're talking about right here the fact that Homan, it's not a bribe. He used to be a lobbyist. Do you know what a lobbyist does? They take money from groups in order to talk to other groups. So somebody came to him and said, "Hey, we're going to offer you $50,000 to go and talk to these people." That's what a lobbyist does. That's literally his job.
For favorable contracts. And they're like, pardon, you're good, stay.
Yeah,
So
favorable contracts.
There's nothing about this that's going to strike anyone
That's
as
lobbying.
surprising in terms of how they're handling it. And that should frighten you, because if they can label you a terrorist, you understand that means that they can do a lot of different things to you in terms of what kind of powers.
Yeah, no, that's been horrible. That's been going on for a while now. We've been watching people get labeled terrorists. We've been watching people get labeled as the dark threats to society and democracy. We've been seeing that for a long time. That's what's going on right now with ICE. They're being labeled as the Gestapo. And so I admit it's stupid that Trump is now trying to play the same game where he's labeling, okay, if we're the Gestapo, then we're just going to call you terrorists. That's stupid. But Both sides are doing that.
They can sick on you. And I've seen so many videos. There was a video even that same day. What's that? Look, what is that? What?
That's people coming up and doing dumb shit to cops.
What is that?
That's I'm gonna tell you what that is.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what that is.
What is that?
I'm gonna tell you what that is.
Tell me.
A nice car. It's a Dodge Durango.
Starting off the year with a bang. Federal agents, cops in general, are all given more powers than the average person, okay? Yes, I can imagine that protesters are fucking annoying, they're disruptive, they're throwing snowballs, whatever. Why is your window open so you can pepper spray them from your car? What is that? You're not making someone less of a threat. You're blocking up traffic, which means for the people behind you, then they have to deal with folks. It doesn't make you any safer. All you go do this for is to get some payback. That's all it is. And the people who cheer on this lack of professionalism. But one day when it's going to get turned on them and they'll say this is brutality by them, you guys are endorsing a bigger state. You guys are endorsing them using excessive force. You guys are endorsing them doing these things, not because it's protecting the citizens, not because they don't like you and they don't like what you stand for or the fact that you're annoying. What is the reason they got out of their car?
So the whole idea of endorsing, you consider the fact that what we've been dealing with is people blatantly breaking the law, blatantly committing fraud, blatantly disrespecting others, stealing stuff, doing all kinds of stuff, and having zero consequences. It's why right now I'm not a big fan of it, but it's why there's a big push of the whole FAFO, because for the last 10, 15 years, we've been dealing with this. You look at the BLM riots, you look at the lies that happened around those, you look at the COVID lies and all that stuff. It's gotten to the point where you've heard this. It's like when you're young and you've got this school bully who is just every day mistreating you, calling you names, throwing stuff at you, breaking the rules. Nobody stops them. And then one day you see someone else come by and hit that kid and like knock him down. You're not usually in support of that kind of thing, but you do feel a little bit of like, yeah, schadenfreude. That felt nice. It's not good. So stop promoting it. Stop pushing for it by justifying people doing dumb things and breaking the law. Stop justifying the fact that she could drive a car at a cop. You can't. Not without having consequences.
They have their window open to pepper spray.
Because that's a get bag.
Okay.
So again, they had their window open. How dare they? Cops aren't allowed to have their window open when they drive. They shouldn't ever do that. They should expect people to throw stuff in there. Stuff they don't even know what those people are throwing. And that's still, I'm pretty sure, could be seen as assault by some places. If you were to run up and just peg someone in the face with a snowball, I bet some places could be like, no, that's not okay. So again, it's one of those things, you're not supposed to do that stuff in a civilized society.
This is renegade. This is, I'm gonna get back to you. This is revenge. This is pettiness.
It is,
pettiness
and I don't like
a police
it.
Officer.
And I hate the fact that more of it is happening.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm sure there's more. I might watch more. This video is already at half an hour though. But you get the idea. They are ignoring facts that are right there in front of them to stick to this F the police. And I get it. I'm not a big fan of the police. I really hate the fact that so many cops can do terrible things and get away with it. But at the same time, you can't drive your car at a cop and then give a surprise Pikachu face when he shoots at you. Anyways, those are my thoughts on all this. Let me know how wrong I am in the comments.